This is another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast. I'm Joe Connor.
I'm JT Harker.
And today we have a very special guest. This is, everybody knows him, even if you don't know him. You've seen him before. You've probably seen him on the Tizoop, playing for one of your favorite artists. He's an amazing musician, amazing drummer. He's also just an all-around amazing person. He's one of those people that, you know, we've been knocking it out the park the last couple of weeks as far as, you know, guests that we can't really give you their resume. He's another one because we just be talking about it for too long. He's another one of those guys, right? So we've been on a hot streak here. Okay. Schoolboy Q, ASAP Rocky, Juicy J, JoJo, Charlie Puth, Tori Kelly, Kendrick Lamar, some of the people that he's been rocking the drums for.
All I heard was JoJo.
All he heard. Hey, you know what? We love JoJo and always will. DeShaun
really
Allen, welcome to the show. What's up, bro?
Hey, thank y'all for having me, bros. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. Okay, so tell us, it's been a minute since obviously we've seen each other, especially because of the COVID. No one's really seen anybody. But tell us what's been going on with you and how have you been, like, what's been things like for you in the COVID? I'm assuming you at home recording a bunch of stuff like we all are. But tell us, like, how that's been.
Well, you know what? It's been a journey, man. It's been a journey of, you know, self-reflection and finding things that you love to do for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us, we do things for people.
Yeah.
You know, even in entertainment, like we get on stage for other people.
Yeah.
If we have to, we'd be at home in our studios recording and playing and doing whatever for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what, but at the same time, our job has been for people for so long.
Yeah.
Which, you know, trickles over into our personal lives and into our mental lives and our emotional lives even.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, finding that center in space and being healthily taken care of, you know, my body, my soul, my spirit, and spending time with my therapist on the phone, on Zoom call, real stuff, you know.
Yeah,
just,
real stuff, real grown man stuff. We've talked about it's kind of been a running theme the past couple of weeks too with some of the guests that we've had on. Some of the positive things that the pandemic has kind of pulled out of you, right? Like for me, I said it was you know, getting my recording chops up, right? Like I never had to record myself, you know what I'm saying, playing drums. I never had to record drums before. And so doing it from the house, it was something that I kept pushing off. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna buy the mics. And I just never did it. And that pushed me into being completely self-sufficient as far as like, you know, an independent musician, needing to record and as well as the groups that I'm in, being able to advance, still keep those records going because I can do it from home and stuff like that. So that was something that was positive that kind of pushed me into. Also, it pushed me and JT to start this podcast because we talked about it for how many years did we? It wasn't even months. We talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, we've been playing together about 5 years or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, almost the whole time.
Almost the whole time.
As soon as we're talking about sports, we're like, man, we got to have a podcast.
Yeah.
And we tried, what, 2 years ago? We kind of tried to get it started. And, you know, here we are 6 months in.
Yeah, the pandemic hit and it was like, we don't have any excuse not to do this now. So, what's some of the things that kind of positively that it pulled out of you?
Well, you guys beat me to the punch of getting the podcast. About musicians and artists and things talking about sports because this is what we do on a regular basis
all the time. Yeah, it's like it made no sense that this didn't happen before.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, we by we I mean me and my roommate Derek Cobbs. You also had him on a podcast.
Yeah, he was just on, literally just on.
That's funny. Yeah. So he and myself have definitely been working on our production chops.
Okay.
And, you know, figuring out what makes it lack of better terms, what makes things easier for us to do things proficiently, efficiently, but also quickly.
Yeah.
So, working on chops and really like building into that part of our musical life.
Yeah.
I think I've touched drums maybe 5 times since
March.
Yeah.
And
it's felt fantastic. Growing up as a drummer, you always feel like you have to be on the drums. You have to touch drums. 10,000 hours ain't enough of time to play drums.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. But at the same time, it's like as you transition, as you grow into certain things, like recording drums, I'm not proficient in that. Yeah. But I can do it. I've learned how to do it. But also like my passion shifted towards production more so.
Wow. So, okay. Yeah.
Got a couple songs out now, and people are calling me for mixing gigs even.
Oh, come on, mixing. Let's do it. All right, we're gonna call you for a mixing gig at some point.
Mixing podcast, whole nine.
Yeah, straight up. Let's do it.
It's been, that part has been like a wonderful journey for me. Like I've been enjoying learning those things, and even things that I learned to work.
Yeah. I think expansion has been the name of the game for us as far in the musician community, and it's been a beautiful thing to see. The people that's doing it right are expanding. You know what I'm saying? Like you expanding into production, us expanding into the podcast world, and myself expanding into production. I have a splice pack with one of my homies, and I've been doing a bunch of those things. JT expanding into cards, and which is a whole new world for me. I didn't even know anybody who was like in the world of cards trading and all this other stuff. So it's super cool to see, and that's the adapt or die. Like that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to
Call of Duty life too. Call of Duty is taking over a little bit of my life.
Oh, of course.
Never ever thought I would ever play the game. And end of March, I picked up the game, and I put it down for like a month.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be on Twitch just with a Call of Duty following, just hashing out sessions, every other day. Like that's a thing.
Me and Justice West, another musician, awesome musician, producer in the community. We get on the same team like every week.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
And he'll stream us on his Twitch.
Yeah.
And I've been seriously thinking about it, just opening up my
do it
on Twitch.
Do it. It's a whole thing. I mean, we had my brother Lynn on here a couple of weeks ago, and he was taking us into the whole world of like gaming and how, because my nephew Duke is doing a gaming thing, and he opened up a gaming channel, and he has like a little team under him now. He's like 12, like, you know what I mean? But he has like a whole team under him now, and he's doing the gaming thing and streaming, and they streaming on YouTube and they streaming on Twitch. It's like a whole thing, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, expansion. Like I'm like, what's like? I just got on Twitch a couple weeks ago because otherwise one of the bands that I'm in has a Twitch following going on, and when we live stream, we stream on Twitch too. Like it's a whole thing. But I didn't realize that like Twitch started as just a platform just for gamers, and then blew up because everybody was on there, you know what I'm saying, doing their thing. So it's been crazy. Okay, cool. I mean, dope stuff. We can go on forever in that round, but let's hop into it because there's a lot going on in the world of sports right now. Let's jump into some NFL recap first and foremost. So the biggest and latest thing that happened was the COVID smacking the NFL upside the head. Just today, we heard that the Titans are closing their facility after multiple players have tested positive for COVID-19. This is obviously going to affect everything, and it's going to have a lot of ripple effects in this situation. The Vikings have also closed all of their facilities because the Vikings just played them, so now they're going to go through a rapid test process. The Titans were supposed to play the Steelers, I believe, this weekend. It's looking like that game won't happen. We don't know yet. They didn't officially postpone it or cancel it, but what they did say officially was that the teams won't be allowed into any facilities before Saturday. So with that being said, it sounds like, it'll be tight if they try to play that game. I don't see how they get it done. But like, this is something that happened in baseball. And so we saw baseball kind of try to fumble their way through it. With football, I'm not sure how this is going to affect everything. Like, do you see this happening? This similar to how it happened when the NBA shut down. Like it started with one team, and then all of a sudden it spread fire, and it was this ripple effect. Like, how do y'all see this playing out? The whole COVID in the NFL situation.
God, I really hope not. But I mean, from the get-go, I think if we really think about it, I know I'm surprised that the NFL has even been going this many weeks without any major shutdowns.
Yeah.
Because there was no bubble. They didn't take the precautions that the NBA took, or even that hockey took. And with that many, when you're not taking precautions, and there's how many guys on a football team?
Yeah, 100.
It just seems like a not smart way to go. Yeah. So hopefully it won't be a big deal, because I mean, who wants to see the NFL season get shut down completely because they didn't want to be responsible enough to, to take the precautionary measures that they should have taken.
Right. Right.
They had 50. Well, they've been. I think they upped it up from 53 to 56 man rosters for a year, which was a buffer for like more players to possibly get.
Yeah, it was a COVID buffer. Yeah.
Yeah, COVID buffer or whatever. My idea going into this whole thing for the NFL, which I didn't express to many people, but it was like a 8 to 10 game schedule. Where other week you play a team. That way you get a COVID buffer.
Oh, and actually built into the schedule.
Because there was no off season. Injuries plus COVID plus no preseason games.
Yeah.
They went straight to playing,
Yeah.
You kind of need that buffer, especially recovery. Playing that sport is a recovery game. I played high school, college for a bit, and I'm still feeling the pains from playing football.
Right.
And as a 32-year-old man, I feel the pains from 20.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine going from no off season straight into training for the first game.
Yeah.
And week 3 just happened, and I'm surprised they made it this long, for sure. I'm super surprised.
Yeah, because I was one of those that I was thinking in the beginning, like, I don't see how they do this without a bubble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of saw this coming. I almost, like you both said, I kind of expected it to come sooner. But I think that, like, this is just the beginning of a larger ripple effect if they don't figure something out. Because even if they try to say, okay, well, we'll start sitting teams and stuff like that. Now you screwing up the schedule, and then you got to like reschedule this game. They're talking about maybe playing the game on Tuesday. And so if the game is played on Tuesday, then you have to that means they can't play next Sunday, right? If they play on Tuesday, they can't have a turnaround where they play next Sunday. So now you're playing catch up with those teams. And so it's like, it could just be a grenade in the whole system. So I'm hoping that it's not, because we kind of got it going, and it felt like, oh, this is they're gonna finish the season. Like, so far it's been going well. So I don't know. It's gonna be weird to see how it plays out. But if you are a fantasy owner, because everything is, that's the second thing we think about. How does this relate to me? Okay, like what am I? If you have,
everybody loves Derrick Henry,
right?
And he's a running back monster. He doesn't get hurt.
I know.
Basketball, the games are always great.
Yeah.
So he's a top 5 pick.
Yep.
Especially with fantasy, you always get points because he's going to score every game.
He's durable
every game.
Yep.
So he delivers. He definitely delivers.
He delivers it every. Yeah.
That's going to have a huge effect on Derrick Henry owners.
Right. Right. So now what do you do when you just got to sit Derrick Henry because of COVID things? You know what I'm saying? And you don't know how long he's going to be out.
Yeah. Listen, I want you guys to forget Derrick Henry. What's important here is that I chose to sit Cooper Kupp. Ooh. I chose to pick up Gardner Minshew.
Oh, wow.
Mr. should have been a Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Instead of playing the guys that I've been playing, Tom Brady, Big Ben, Herbert even played better, and I have Burrow.
You said Tom Brady and Big Ben for Gardner Minshew?
And Burrow?
Yes, I sat both of them.
Why?
I sat both of them. Because he was supposed to have a big week, and he was killing it. He was killing it, and they were playing the Dolphins. It makes no sense. Then Cooper Kupp decides to go off, and
of course.
And then Darrell Henderson, I believe, went off on my bench as well.
Of course.
And I lost by like 15 points.
Damn.
It's an unfortunate one because clearly I'm the most talented owner in our league. So to drop 2 in a row is just very disappointing.
Okay.
Very disappointing.
What'd you say?
He dropped 2 in a row.
Yeah. That's
2 in a row.
That's not it.
2 in a row.
I mean, it's really, we already had a rash of injuries from week 2, and now you had this COVID thing. So this is about to be another, this is going to be a bubble year as far as winning a fantasy championship because you got everything against you at this point.
The most dangerous part of this whole football season has nothing to do with an illness.
Right.
The turf.
Oh, yeah.
And at
San Fran, the Niners. Yeah.
People hurt every week and major injuries leg.
Yeah.
But Mostert, who was my sleeper this year, I got him the 12th round, and he was killing it.
Yeah, same.
He's out with injury. I think Kittle's finally coming back. Jordan Reed, who was a brilliant pickup, who went off last week, now he's hurt. He's going to have to sit.
He always hurt, though. If you was a smart owner, you stay away from Jordan Reed because this is the story for Jordan Reed every year.
Yeah, if you're streaming him, though, which probably most people would have used him as a streamer, he was brilliant. But, everyone's hurt, man. Everyone's like Nick Bosa, maybe the best football player in the game right now. He's out. There are other defense. Oh, he's arguably the best player in the game, man. Nick Bosa?
Nick Bosa is good, but he ain't that good.
He's arguably he was defensive player of the year, wasn't he?
Yeah, no. Aaron Donald.
Last year?
The best. Yes. Aaron Donald.
Defensive player of the year? Well, he's up there. He's up there.
He up there. I give him
for
his
sure
respect.
He's all pro for sure. But that's a big loss, and they lost their other defensive end. I mean, just not good. Not good.
Yeah, they're depleted on defense. As far your Niners are depleted on
defense.
Still winning. Yeah, still winning. Yeah.
Still winning.
It's just, the injury bug is all around. Same thing with the Eagles. We just Dallas Goedert that's another fantasy implication because he was a good tight end, especially in fantasy where tight ends are a rarity, a good, productive, consistent tight ends. Dallas Goedert has a bone fracture or something like that. You know what I'm saying? As if the Eagles needed more injuries to deal with.
They don't need any more injuries.
It's looking ugly.
I'll tell you what though, they're okay because they're an experienced team, and the Cowboys and them, it's
I know it's a race to the bottom. I know it's a race to the bottom. We're basically 0-3. We ended up with this dumbass tie last week, so we're 0-2-1, and we're
better than 0-3.
Only one game back. That's it.
One game exactly. And now it's attrition. It's who's going to manage the injuries, who's going to get through it, and hopefully did I see correctly that Carson Wentz asked for a trade?
No. But they were talking. They did ask Doug Peterson in a press conference awkwardly, are you going to bench Carson?
I saw that.
Okay.
And he was like,
I don't know. I saw a tweet and I thought it was Schefter, but I must have
No. He didn't ask for a trade, but the media was talking about him getting benched because it's getting ugly. Like I can't. I don't have no excuses for Carson. I don't know what's going on. I'm watching him like put the kid in. I tweeted it out in the middle of the game last week. I said I'm done. Put Jalen in. I don't want to see this no more.
Speaking of getting benched, a Philly hero, Nick Foles, came in for Trubisky and looked like Super Bowl Nick Foles. All over again. And the Bears are very quietly 3-0. They're 3-0 right now.
But talk about poetic justice. Like this happened at the same time last week, right? Like Carson is throwing picks and running us into the ground low key, and then Trubisky in the same time slot. I think the Bears are playing. The Bears are down like 20 points at that point. They put Foles in the game. They come back. They win the game. A couple of days later, Foles is now named the starter, which is that they shouldn't do that though.
Was that against the Falcons too?
It was. Yeah. Was it against?
I think it was. Another collapse. Another collapse.
Falcons just know how to. They're really good at losing.
Oh yeah. I don't know how Dan Quinn still has a job.
This wasn't a thing. It was the Super Bowl, but then it wasn't a thing until that Dallas game. So I don't know what's going. Obviously, their defense is horrendous. Their defense is horrendous. So that's part of it because they're putting up points.
They are.
But they got to figure that out, man. My son's the biggest Julio Jones fan you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
He's got Julio Jones, the fat heads and the stickers and everything all over his walls. And obviously Julio is out right now, but he's like, Dad, the Falcons again.
Again.
I mean, it's inexplicable.
Again, I don't know how Dan Quinn has a job still though. Like at this point, I thought he would have been fired before the press conference happened last week.
He's got to get it together this year because this is going to be it. If he keeps doing this, they're not going to make the playoffs.
I'm telling you this,
they're not making
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna tell you this: if they lose another game like they did against the Cowboys and against whoever they was playing, was it the Bears last week? He's not gonna make it to the end of the year. I would bet that. No. I would see. No.
And that's a bummer. My son's uncle is one of the coaches for the Falcons.
Oh yeah. You told me about that.
So that's a bummer. That's gonna be another move.
Yeah. Right.
The wife doesn't like Georgia anyway.
So on the brighter side of things that are happening in the NFL, Cam Newton is quietly doing his thing down there. They're low. They should be 3-0 in reality, except for that little blunder that they had week before last where they couldn't punch it in at the end of the game. Cam in a Patriots uniform is equally weird, but I love to see it. Like he's crushing it. And I hate the Patriots, and I've always hated
the Patriots, and I like this whole thing.
I do too.
I like how he.
This is very racist because when they had the great white quarterback, you guys hated the Patriots.
Absolutely.
But now that they got Cam,
absolutely.
Now we're all
vote for everyone. What they say? I root for everything black.
He brings some swag there. He brings some style. But I gotta be honest. I didn't root for him with Tom Brady, even though I like Tom Brady a lot. I think he's the greatest quarterback of all time. But I didn't necessarily root for him. They won too much. I didn't want to see him win. But now I'm rooting for him. Because it's fun seeing Cam, under center for the Patriots. That's fun. It's fun seeing Cam Newton play for Bill Belichick.
Yes,
it's weird.
Right,
it's weird. It would be like seeing, it would be like seeing Dwight Howard play for Popovich. It would be very strange. Speaking of Dwight Howard, who thinks he's Dennis Rodman now, trying to get in guys' heads and talk shit.
I love it. I love to see it.
He's one of the strangest human beings I've ever seen.
I'm here for it. I love to see it. The aggression that he's using this season, these playoffs. I'm here for it. But yeah, Cam is doing this thing. I'm gonna stick with my prediction in that division for the Patriots to win that division. I like what I'm seeing from Cam and Bill.
I'll tell you what I like. The Bills. I got my first look at the Bills. They look nasty.
I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched a Bills game yet.
You'll change your mind because Josh Allen I thought was overrated. He's legit.
I know he's putting up numbers.
He is. They almost had a blunt, but it's the eye test too. He's getting it done. Like he's making big throws, making big plays, and now he's doing it with his arm and not just his legs. He's almost more trying to get it done with his arm than his legs now. When he figures it out, Bills are taking over the division.
Yeah,
Bills are taking over the division. It's a change of the guard right now.
Yeah,
you heard it on this show first.
I give it 2 years. I give it 2 years.
Same. I think they need some more time. I think Bill Belichick, if you give Bill Belichick a talented quarterback, he's been making something out of nothing for a while now.
For sure.
I see them. I see them. I mean, well, I gotta see how play out. I do want to check the Bills out because I knew they were going to be good. I said that I thought it would be, between the Bills and the Pats. But it was because of Bill Belichick and Cam that I was leaning towards the Pats. So
I don't see a championship winner out of this division though. I don't see.
I don't either.
Not yet.
No.
But one thing I love about the Bills though is that defensively they're really good. That's why I think it's not just the offense. Although the offense looks good and Josh Allen looks good, but that defense I think just lifts them above even a Bill Belichick Patriots team.
Well, speaking of fantasy, what Bill did to Darren Waller last week, like completely took him. He's crushing. He's clearly there. He's my tight end, so that annoyed me, number one. But number two, he's also like clearly their best receiver, and he went off last week. Had 30 fantasy points or something close to it. And Bill Belichick came in and completely just wiped him off the board. He had 2 catches for 4 yards or something like that.
For sure.
But that's the reason why I'm going with Bill Belichick, because he just
best coach of all time.
It's
best
like,
coach of all time.
Man, it's almost not fair. So then we had the Monday night game, Mahomes versus Jackson, which didn't really go the way that most people would think. I mean, I guess most people would have assumed that they would win. You know what I mean? But not like they did. Like, I didn't expect them to wipe the floor with them.
The Ravens got exposed defensively.
Yeah.
They looked like if you didn't know who the Ravens were, didn't know they were one of the top teams around, you would, and their defense is supposed to be legit. You would have thought they were one of the worst teams in the league. They didn't even know. They had no clue what was going on. First half, second half, no adjustments, made a little comeback because Lamar Jackson's great.
Yeah.
They didn't look like they knew at all where they were going. They were turned around. It was ugly.
Well, I got two comments on this whole thing. The first 3 weeks, realistically, are preseason games.
Yeah.
Everybody's working out their kinks because they did not get to go against another team to see things they need to work out. So every team is going through 2 to 3 weeks of kink work.
Yeah.
But also, Pat Mahomes is a monster.
Yeah. He's the best player in the NFL.
He deserves all $520 million of his contract that he's going to get for another Super Bowl, and he's going to get an MVP.
Yeah.
Like it's inevitable. He's the what's the character from freaking what movie was that?
From
Thanos. He's Thanos. He's inevitable.
Yeah.
He's right now the best quarterback I've ever seen. Right now.
Yeah.
Now longevity obviously depends on, they got to keep the weapons around him and keep that, they got to keep playing at a high level for him to be in the conversation with Joe Montana and Tom Brady and these guys. But right now, I've never seen a guy throw the football with the accuracy and the touch that he's doing right now. Russell Wilson is doing similar, but I've never seen a guy play at this level ever.
Yeah.
He's making throws where if it's not spot on exactly where it needs to be, it's either not getting caught or it's getting intercepted, and he's making them almost every time.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't even look real what he's doing. It looks like Madden.
He's a full combo of Aaron Rodgers' arm and mindset.
Yeah.
And Donovan McNabb with his legs and his movement in the pocket.
Yes.
That he can control the game.
Yeah.
Donovan
he is.
Donovan you guys down the field on a regular basis.
Yeah, he did.
Under pressure, him and Russell Wilson right now, they just seem they have this sixth sense of just the game is slowed down for them.
Yes.
Everybody else, the game's going like this, and he's just calm. He's not afraid to take the hit. He runs funny. You ever notice he runs?
Yeah, he does.
Like this,
yeah.
He runs really well. He's like the NFL Steph Curry. They're both light-skinned dudes who are really goofy.
Yeah.
They're not really like swagalicious at all. They're kind of dorky, but then they just get it done. They just get it done.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Remember that game, Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember the sixth sense he would have, and it made that noise.
Yeah.
Right.
That's Pat.
That's him.
That's Pat.
Touchdown.
Yeah. What's scary about that is, like you said, you mentioned Russell and his, his sense in the pocket. The thing is, like, Pat Mahomes is a baby and has that. That's what's crazy. Like,
exactly.
He's too young to have this level of pocket awareness, this level of pocket poise. Like, it's weird. It's not really fair. Like, he's too young to have
too
that.
Good.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
He's too good, and he's stepped into a position as a young quarterback with all the weapons already there. All you need to win in this league is a solid defense and a really good offense with a good quarterback.
Yeah.
It's a perfect position. Him and Andy Reid are set up for a dynasty if they can keep this thing together. And he's got a lot of opportunity coming up. Yeah. It's crazy to see.
Too. They have a speedy defense. They're not necessarily like the most powerful. You got a couple power guys like the Chris Joneses.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of speed on the edge. That's why I think they were able to contain Lamar to 97 yards.
97. I mean, that's a big deal that I don't think people are really paying attention to. Like, if their defense is going to do that to one of the most explosive quarterbacks in the league, like, man,
MVP,
like
the reigning MVP,
you know what I'm saying? Like, especially look at their rushing attack too. Like last year, the Ravens had the baddest rushing attack in the league, and they play the Chiefs, and it's like it disappears. You know what I'm saying? Like, their running backs did nothing last week. Lamar Jackson on the ground did nothing. And it's like, that's scary, because that's supposed to be a team that's supposed to be able to gash you. You know what I'm saying? Just from pure talent alone in the running game. And
the Chiefs are making the right draft picks. This running back that they got.
Oh, Edward-Helaire? Yeah, that's my guy.
The thing about him is he made some catches where I couldn't see his number, and I thought it was Sammy Watkins. I thought it was, and one I thought it was Tyreek Hill. That's how much he looks like a wide receiver. That's dangerous, because even some of the top receiving running backs in the game still look like running backs when they're catching the ball. Yeah. He looked like a slot receiver. He's legit.
Have the shortest skill position players in
the league.
And
they do
everything. They catch, they run.
They don't have any.
They block.
They don't have any tall receivers.
No.
Zero. They're all small.
And Reid's mindset and mind and his offensive compatibility with his offensive coordinator.
I think that's his offensive coordinator, because he was in Philly and wasn't doing none of this mess. I mean, they throwing passes to the linesman. They got the fullback catching touchdown. Yeah, I'm like, where was this in Philly? This is his OC. That's his coordinator. I mean, because this is like
also his quarterback. He has the quarterback.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that
can do these things.
Yeah,
Donovan had a limit, and then Wentz had a limit.
Well, for sure.
Then, who else was there before him? Foles was there when.
Well, he had Michael Vick.
He had Vick for a second.
Didn't he have Vick?
And he had Alex Smith before Pat Mahomes, who's obviously limited as well. But he had Alex Smith.
But they did some good things with Alex Smith.
Alex Smith won 13 games with him.
Yeah, they did some good things with Alex Smith.
Back 13 games.
I give that coaching staff a lot of credit, because I think they're doing a lot of creative things and innovative things that I never saw Andy do in Philly, and he was there for my whole childhood. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think they've put together a really good front office and coaching staff there. So they're gonna be scary for a while.
I like Philly last like 10 years only because one of my boys I came up with is now one of your highest paid players. So
who?
Brandon Graham.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We love Brandon Graham. Yeah, shout out to Brandon Graham. He was the only one. He was the only one playing last week. We sitting in here like literally me and my fiance is looking at the TV like, oh, so Brandon Graham the only boy that showed up today. He the only one that came to play today, huh?
Brandon is the reason why my shoulders are like this.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, get in the gym with me. We doing these.
I didn't know. It's funny. I didn't know. So Brandon is from the D?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Went to U of M.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't know that. Yeah. He's dope. He's dope.
Yeah. We had a bunch of mutual friends, so we would always link up. And whenever he came up to my school a bunch, I came up to U of M a bunch. My girl was going there. His girl was there. So we had a little bond or whatever.
Yeah.
I was cool dude. Really.
Yeah.
Still cool. Keep in touch.
Yeah. Shout out Brandon Graham. He's dope and he's been balling. And I just hope that they get him some help.
Yeah.
Because this is hard to watch. Okay, so transitioning into the association here. Obviously the big news of the day.
We skipping the Lions, right? We got to win now.
Oh no. We're gonna give this shot. Let's give the Lions their roses. Okay.
We only need one because we only got one win.
Who did they beat? I don't remember.
Cardinals.
Oh, my Cardinals, because I'm starting Kyler Murray and I'm starting Hopkins. So they still did numbers though. So
do you want to start Kenyon Drake because he's about to be dropped?
You know what? I did start him last week. I did start him.
Oh, I've got him in our league, and I'm about over it.
Yeah,
I'm about over it.
Well, what did he do? 13 points or something?
Nothing.
Like that?
In our league, he had 75 total yards. It wasn't good. It was like 8 points, 7 points.
So
he's not doing it.
He had So he had 8 points. He had 8 points last week. He had 10 points in week 2. He had 13 in week 1. But he had 18. But you can be encouraged because he had 18 attempts.
I know, but that's the problem. Against Detroit, that was supposed to be his breakout game because, as we all know, but Detroit sucks.
Yeah, we're trash.
The defense is supposed to be runnable.
You're not just going to trash his team like that.
Every single Detroit fan is a realist. We love our team. We love every single one of them. From the Red Wings on down.
Yeah.
Are very realistic. Every Detroit team sucks right now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Y'all been through hard times, ball.
That's true.
But, I mean, we got a couple championships throughout the decade or the millennium so far.
True. There's some cities that are in full on city droughts where they haven't won championships forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's all I wanted to say about the Lions. We don't gotta go too far into it.
Man, shout out to the. I mean, y'all got more wins than we got as far in Philly, the Eagles over here. So I can't. At this point, we're looking up at y'all. But yeah, as far as like Kenyon Drake goes, like he had 18 attempts. I didn't see the game, so I don't know why he ended up with only 8 points. I mean, obviously just, the rush yard. He's 73 rush yard. When you look at his stat line, it looks like he should have had more points.
Yeah. He should have had more points. He's not getting the break. He's expected to be the big playmaker there. He's not getting it done. And I don't know. He's supposed to have.
He's up against. I mean, his schedule gets easier for the next 2 weeks because he's playing the Cardinals. Who was he playing? Carolina. He's playing Carolina's defense next week, which is the second. They give up the second most points to running backs in the league.
The weirdest thing is the toughest matchup he was supposed to have had was his biggest game when they played the Niners.
I know.
So sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Melvin Gordon had a great matchup. He didn't do anything for me either. Yeah. It's just some of those things you can't explain why big time players are not.
But so I think right now you stick with Kenyon Drake. I think you stick with Kenyon Drake for the next couple of weeks and see. If he does nothing versus the Panthers and nothing versus the Jets, then you can kind of throw him to the wolves at that point.
I'm sitting him for Darrell Henderson because Darrell Henderson was one of my pickups.
That's a good move.
And I didn't play him either. I left 45 points on my bench.
Damn. That's a recipe for a loss. It
was brutal.
Yeah. I'm in a bad shape. I have to start him because I'm starting him in a league where I have Raheem Mostert. He was like my main guy. And I had who was it? I have Raheem Mostert. I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first running back spot. And so I was starting Edwards-Helaire, Mike Davis now, who's in Carolina. But I had Drake in my flex.
Go check on Nick Chubb. See if you can get a nice little trade for that young man.
Yeah, Nick Chubb has been balling out, but Nick Chubb loses a lot of touches and points to Kareem Hunt, which I have in another league, and that's the only thing I'm like.
Down.
Yeah, I'm iffy about that.
Kyle offered me a trade Mostert for Nick Chubb before Mostert got hurt, but Mostert was going off. Chubb wasn't.
That's not a good trade.
I knew Chubb would bounce back, but Mostert comes back healthy, and I've got him and Zeke. Those are my two starting, and then I can push Darrell Henderson to my flex, and I'll feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's not a good trade.
Too. He's gonna have
because that part too. But Mostert is gonna be back, and Mostert is he's gonna be a top guy. I mean, I wouldn't do that. That's why I'm.
That dude's fast. He's fast.
Oh, period. Yeah,
Mostert.
Yeah, but he's only going to be out a couple weeks apparently, and so that's why I was starting Drake in the flex, but at this I also have Keenan Allen. I feel like I should have started because he went off last week, and I should have started him in the flex instead of Kenyon Drake. I might make that switch this week, but again, Kenyon Drake has the cushy matchup this week, so it's one of those things like. Do you try him out and see?
Who does Keenan play this week? Who do the Chargers play this week?
They play Tampa Bay. It's not a good matchup.
Tough.
But
that could be a shootout.
Yeah. It could be.
That could be.
It could be, but it's just not as good of a matchup as Kenyon Drake has.
Yeah, I mean Justin Herbert has to have a go-to receiver because it's early in his career. It's early in the season.
Yeah.
Have somebody that he can go to on a regular basis. So it's Hunter Henry and then Keenan Allen. And
man, Herbert's nice, man. I like that he came back and almost got it done. I like to see that because a young quarterback's going to have some bad games. His first expected start, right?
Yeah.
And he managed to get him back, and they should have won that game at the end.
Right.
So I like that. I think that dude is really, really good. Really good.
Yeah, he's got a bright future, and the fact that he's he's another one who's like has a lot of poise and to be young and to just jump in and to be operating like that is kind of scary, but that's dope.
Can we talk about somebody else? Because I'm politically incorrect, especially in today's racial climate and social climate. I like to give love to white guys that seem somehow get it done
overlooked
when they're not supposed to. Tyler Hero is my new hero, even though he took out my future East Beast pick. The Celtics were supposed to go to the finals. I picked them. Let me rephrase that. They weren't supposed to go to the finals, but they were my pick to go to the finals. They were the pick.
And I cashed in on my pick, and I was almost I thought I said Heat in 6, but I said Heat in 7. I was a game off.
Heat in 7. Listen, this is why they won, and this is why I am a believer in the Heat now. Tyler Hero, who is second team all rookie because for whatever reason he wasn't doing this earlier in the year, averaged 19 points, 6 rebounds, just under 5 assists, and 100% from the free throw line.
Damn.
This kid played like he is already Devin Booker, like he's already all NBA. What's that?
That was just for this series.
That was for the series.
Yeah.
That was for the series. For the playoffs, I think he's averaging 16. But in this series, he just decided – he was the MVP of that series. He's incredible. His handle, and now he's doing mainly scoring, but obviously he's rebounding as well. We're going to see him open up because his handle is so nice. He likes to dish, but they needed him to score. Dude, I'm telling you right now, the future of this team is going to be Butler gets to be more of the second or even third guy because Hero is going to be the number one option on that team. It's going to be centered around him like a Devin Booker, James Harden next year or the year after. He's that good. He's really that good.
Well, that's the thing about their team. Butler doesn't have to be the leading scorer for them to win. They've
but he
won,
but he did before.
Yeah,
like now he doesn't.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's huge.
But in these playoffs, he doesn't have to. They've won when he had, pretty pedestrian games. They've still gotten it done because they have a lot of firepower with Bam and with Tyler,
Duncan
Robinson. Like they got a lot.
Don't leave out the other white guy. Don't leave out the other white guy.
We overlooked the other one. They do.
Duncan takes over 90% of his shots that he takes are from 3 points.
Yeah.
From 3-point range, and that's his calling card. He was doing that in college. He played at Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh, Duncan Robinson. Yeah. Very nice.
I mean, I like their team. We're gonna do our picks a little bit later, but I like their roster. That's why I picked them against the Celtics, because especially down the stretch, I like the same reason why they say, well, LeBron shipped all the young guys out. You know what I'm saying? And he has a pattern. He don't want to play with the young guys, because at this point, if you're in championship mode, you need guys with experience and guys who are fearless in big moments. And they have this weird combination of experience, but they have this other thing where they have youth that has no conscience. Like they have young guys, but their young guys don't play like young guys, and they don't act like young guys. Like the shots that Tyler Hero is taking in crunch time moments are like, did you know you were in the NBA? Like, did you know that you were a rookie and you're not really?
That's been the Heat culture for over almost 30 years. That's
Yeah.
been literally how they draft, how they get their trades, who they trade for, what they do. Alonzo Mourning. It started with Alonzo Mourning. Mourning, the ultimate worker. He was the first guy in the gym, last guy in the gym, working out, lifting.
Yeah.
They all have to be in a specific amount of shape in order to be on the team, or else they get released.
Yeah, that's true. So that's what happened with Dion, I think. I feel like
it's the right kind of culture, and it's why Udonis Haslem's still there, and I love that they still have him there.
Me too.
You saw him, just an experienced guy, NCAA champion, NBA champion. You saw him get in their face. He doesn't play.
Yeah.
He doesn't play. He got out there, I think it was game 5, and get dug into everybody.
Yeah.
And some of even the younger players were kind of looking around like, whoa, this is weird. But I was like, no, it's not weird, because he knows that you don't get this opportunity every year.
Oh, yeah.
He's letting you know that if you're not going to dig down and get it done, we're not
having those guys on the team is greatly overlooked, even if they're not playing, because it brings a sort of respect and experience to the locker room that you only see on championship teams. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Best bet in the league.
Yeah. It's the little things that they do, like that like you say, they're getting in your face when they know these moments are important, right? Like had the Clippers had a Udonis Haslem on their team, it's no way that they would have been up 3-1 and whiffed away 4 games, right? If they had a couple Udonis Haslems on that team to go, listen, this is an important moment. It's the reason why LeBron went off for 40 and 16 in that game. What was it? Game 5, because he knew we can't give these dudes life, because if we do, they'll gain. He's been there before. It's the veteran mentality. It's the championship mentality. It's like, we got to put this to bed now, because if not, it's no telling what can happen. And Udonis was on that same tip. Like, we got to put these Celtics away, because otherwise they could come back. We end up in a game 7. And at that point, we don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So when I look at that roster, I see a lot of value in some of the guys that aren't big names, like Jay Crowder and Andre Iguodala being on that team and playing. He's going to play clutch minutes and big, meaningful minutes in the finals. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been there. He knows what to do. The guys who are gritty, who aren't afraid of the big moments, who are smart, high IQ basketball players, like their team is just built extremely well. You know what I mean? So it's going to be.
Listen, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. And I've been saying Spoelstra for years. Even when LeBron left, I was like, listen, Spoelstra isn't getting love because the credit's going to go to the players.
Right.
But that dude is a great coach.
Right.
And now even as a relatively young coach, he's got so much experience, and he's got Pat Riley, one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
There to bounce everything off of, and he's running the team. Pat Riley.
Championships, right?
What's that?
Yeah.
He already has 3 championships.
Yeah.
Spoelstra?
Yeah.
No. He's got 2.
He's got 2. Riley, how many does Riley have?
Riley got the one with Shaq and D Wade.
Yeah.
Riley's got what 2 or 3 with the Lakers, and then 1
as a GM. As a GM, I think or the president or whatever, he has 3. I think, right? Yeah.
As a GM, yeah. I was talking as a coach. Yeah, I think he's got 3 or 4 as a coach.
I forgot that he coached that first Shaq D Wade team.
Yeah, he came down and fired. Was it Van Gundy?
Yeah. Oh, so we're gonna make our picks for that in a little bit. Before we make our picks, we got to talk about Doc Rivers losing his job because of Pandemic P and the fake King Kawhi. So, number one, no one saw this coming. I didn't see not any of the NBA, not the Chris Broussards or the Shams or any of the guys who are normally breaking this. I didn't hear anything, and then boom, just in the middle of random something yesterday, we hear Doc Rivers is fired, like all the way done, right? So
which we talked about on this show.
We did.
I think we agreed.
We talked about it.
His job could be in jeopardy.
Yeah.
That was the Brad Stevens thing where I'm like, no, that they're overachieving. They're fine. Doc Rivers, though, I don't think it's necessarily deserved, because I think even though a lot of people had expectations for this team, if you look at that team, they're not really built for a championship. They weren't going to beat the Lakers. They're not built for that championship. And the team that they used to have that everyone thought was built for a championship, I also never thought they were built for a championship. So I think he's getting about the results. I do think they should have beat the Nuggets. I think that's lack of leadership. But
I don't think that was on Doc. So
I don't either.
I agree that I don't think it was deserved in the sense of this wasn't Doc's fault. They didn't now not totally his fault, right? When you're up 3-1 and you get beat by a team that doesn't have as equal talent as you do, of course everyone at the top needs to eat some of that pie. Like everyone gets a piece of the blame pie. But it wasn't like he was just vastly outcoached. That wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? Like we saw Pandemic P disappear. We saw Lemon Pepper Lou disappear.
Lou.
How about that? We saw the Jordan and Pippen defensive prowess get cooked, right? And in times when it mattered. These are not things that are Doc Rivers' fault. And these are things that led to a 3-1 lead disappearing overnight.
I saw them going down when I saw Devin Booker put a bucket in their face.
Period.
I was like, oh yeah, the Clippers aren't ready. They're not ready this year.
Yeah. Like do I blame Doc for their mindset a little bit? Yes. Like to me, when you have this lackluster, like we're just going to turn it on mindset, to me, that's come from the head. That's coaching. Like, because every time they lost, it was an excuse of like, well, when we get Trez back, we good. When we get Lou back, we good. Well, we just haven't had enough people to play. And
I'll tell you the main problem, and none of us, I don't think, foresaw this, because I remember being with you at Buckle and Boots when Paul George decided that he didn't want to be a Laker, and you were pissed. Because we all thought Paul was something that he obviously is not. Yeah. And I don't know if he's dealing with injuries that he's not disclosing or what the problem is, but he did not play this season or the postseason like we thought he should. But the other problem is, I have a problem with, if you're trying to win a championship, him being your number 2 guy. I think he's a Kevin Love. I think he's a number 3 guy if you're trying to win a championship. If he's your number 2 guy and you've got Kawhi, who I just don't think he wants to listen to a coach. He's had a problem with every coach he's ever played for. He used to disrespect the guy in Toronto for the season he was there. I just don't think he's a good leader. And I hate to say that, because I love his story, and I think it's a rags to riches and a tragic story to a guy that came from nothing and is really playing at a high level. But he's just not a good leader, and they don't. And then who else do they have on that team to lead? It's like what we're talking about with Haslam. They don't have another guy to do it.
That's what we were.
And they certainly don't have a guy that he respects enough to go to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not a recipe for success.
There's no big brother who can actually play on that team.
Yeah.
Like, their big brother is Lemon Pepperloo.
Yeah, yeah.
And, he's like, we good. Let's just go to the club. Call it a day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the same breath, I think Doc, it works for certain teams. Like, it worked in Boston for a reason because you had a case.
Look at the leadership they had on that team. Rondo, Kevin Garnett. That's why that's why it worked, like you said.
That's why they kind of govern he needs a team that governs itself.
Yep.
He needs a team that governs itself. You can't. But at the same time, what is going to work? More of a a dictator that's going to come in and tell him how it gets. I don't know if that works either.
For the Clippers.
Nah. But for Kawhi though,
it can't be a Tom Thibodeau type. It can't be that kind of guy.
So here's what they're saying. So we were about to go into the other firing was obviously Brett Brown with the Sixers, right? And Mike D'Antoni wasn't fired, so to speak, but his contract is up and he will not be rehired. So there's going to be a carousel, right? So they were talking about possibly Tyronn Lue being a candidate for the Clippers job.
I got a sleeper for this Clippers job, by the way.
Okay. They were talking about Tyronn Lue being a candidate. They were talking about Mike D'Antoni going to the Sixers in hopes that the Sixers would lure that would help the Sixers lure James Harden. And then they were also talking about a possible trade if it's for Embiid, like a straight up Harden Embiid trade. So they were talking about that. They were also talking about the Rockets considering Jeff Van Gundy and Tyronn Lue. So Tyronn Lue effectively would be up. His name was being floated for the Rockets job, but that was before the Clippers fired Doc. So who's your sleeper?
My sleeper for the Clippers, and I think it would be a great additive to their culture, which he's already been a part of for many a year, Sam I Am Cassell.
Oh, yeah, he deserves he's been on a lot of benches. He's been on a lot of benches for a while.
Yeah, but he's a brilliant point guard mind that can put people in different places, make these different plays happen. And also, if you look at the games, it's him and Ty that get up, do the clapping and motivating and, getting the guys to like actually do the play. Yeah. So his mindset would definitely already mesh with the players that are there, but also can help them progress into the next level. Yeah. Like I wouldn't necessarily say like a Steve Kerr did for his team, but I think he can have that type of effect where he comes in and he's like, I already know you guys. All you guys do is just listen and we can all do this. We can all do this well. Yeah.
I agree. He'd be great. I think Tyronn Lue would be great. But to be honest, Doc Rivers had to go just because they need a change. It's for no other reason other than you got to try something else. But at the same time, I don't think they're going – unless there's big moves that they're going to make that I don't know about. I just don't think the Clippers have it. And now you've got the Lakers who aren't going anywhere. Right. And you've got the Warriors coming back very strong.
Denver,
Utah. Denver, who's only getting better because Bol didn't even play. Michael Porter Jr. still has a lot to learn. They're only getting better. And I hope they keep that dude. Is it Jeremiah Grant?
Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant. I didn't realize how good he was until the last few games. He's nice, and he's the perfect guy that they need. He can shoot from outside.
He's a great defender.
He defended LeBron pretty well. They need those kind of guys. And then you've got other teams coming up that I don't think the Clippers are going to be able to play with anyone. I don't even think they're a 6 seed next year.
I don't think that – I think that talking about the personality that they need on that team because of the lack of leadership, I don't think that Tyronn Lue is that person, right? Exactly. I like Tyronn Lue, and I want him to get a job. I think I would like to see Tyronn Lue in Philly, I think, or possibly one of the other jobs, maybe a Rockets job. I'm not sure. But I want Tyronn Lue to get a job. I just don't think that that's the voice. I think that they need, unless they're going to have a shift in player personnel, I think that they need a Greg Popovich type, which we know is not going to happen because Kawhi and Pop don't get along. You know what I'm saying? So that they wouldn't do that. But that's what they need. That's what Kawhi needed, because people act like Kawhi was just going to get dropped in on any team and lead them to a championship. When in reality, Kawhi has never led a team to a championship as far as like, you know, when he was in San Antonio, exactly. When he was in San Antonio, Tim Duncan was still there, and he was not a leader. Not only was he a leader on the floor, but he was a leader off of the floor. When he was in Toronto, it was Kyle Lowry. That's Kyle Lowry's team through and through. He was a leader of that team. So we've never seen him lead a team.
You're right. And they had Gasol, Serge, other guys that had been there that could carry that. Yeah. Not all players are built for that. And I hate to talk bad about I like Kawhi, but I actually lost so much respect for him.
We've never seen it, and everybody crowned him. Like, you know, it was just he's the new guy. We doing the King commercials.
Well, when you win, that happens. We know he got lucky last year against my Warriors.
Yeah.
You know? But a championship's a championship. I'm not going to take anything away from him.
It is. I just thought everybody took it out of context. Like, number one, the Warriors disintegrated in front of everybody's face. And then we act like it didn't happen. And then if you've watched Kawhi on the teams that he didn't win a championship with, you know he wasn't a leader on those teams. So now you give him this fully loaded, full of personalities, colorful personality Clippers team, and you tell them to lead that team? Like, and everybody wrote them in to the finals. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's make picks then.
Can we talk one more sleeper team in the West?
Yeah.
OKC Thunder. I really.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I think they have the makings, and they have an open coaching slot. They have the makings of a young championship contender.
They're nice.
They got to keep Chris Paul, though. I only like them if they keep Chris Paul, because I've been hearing rumors about Chris Paul being traded or going to the Clippers or going to Philly or somewhere else. They got to keep Chris Paul.
He loves it
for sure. He
absolutely loves his team there. He loves the leadership that he can have there.
Yeah.
I gotta say this though about Philly. Why are they talking about dealing Embiid and not Ben Simmons and then bringing in Harden?
Because they don't know
they don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing.
Ben Simmons play with James Harden, so now you're gonna pair Harden with a ball-centric player who can't shoot.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
They don't know what they're doing.
Embiid and Harden together makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes total sense.
They're not going to want the trade, though.
They're not what?
They're not going to want that trade. I mean, Houston won't want that trade because they don't want Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons together. Two guys who can't shoot.
I get Houston not wanting them.
Yeah,
I get Philly.
I get that, but that should be a non-conversation. Period. Like Embiid is not the guy you want to get rid of in that organization at all. It makes no sense.
You talking about right after 25, Embiid?
I think the Embiid thing. What'd you say?
He's tired after 25.
Yes, I was just about to go there. Tired after 25. I think the Embiid situation is their willingness to part with Embiid he's never healthy and available, and the best ability is availability, and he's never there. He can barely make it through a season. His conditioning is terrible. And you have Ben, who is young and has been there, and I think they feel, this is not my feeling, but I think they feel like he can develop into a better shooter, or they can, which technically he can, but he's had too long to do it, and it hasn't happened.
First of all, he can only go up.
Yeah, right.
Only go up. But second of all, you have to want to do it. That's what pisses me off. It's like you're not even trying to get better. Blake Griffin is now a legit 3-point shooter.
Yes.
Brooke Lopez. Brooke Lopez is a legit, and Robin Lopez are both two of the most robotic old school centers. Stanford centers are now legit 3-point shooters. Ben Simmons, you play guard.
But not only that, the Joker, a center, an unathletic center in Denver can shoot circles around Ben Simmons.
Absolutely. And can we say something else? And I was trying to get a video. I saw it on Instagram, but I couldn't find a clip on YouTube. Giannis, and I didn't know this. Have you seen how he shot his rookie season?
No.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not even exaggerating, bro. And I never saw any clip. I never watched him as a rookie. I just heard about him. He was like a spot up 3-point shooter. That was that was his dude. I'm telling you, go find. If I can find this video, I'll send you the link. If you had a blurry old school TV and you didn't know who was playing, this is zero exaggeration. You would think it was Kevin Durant. I swear to God. He was shooting like mid 30% as a 19-year-old kid. Dude, his form was gorgeous. I'm telling you, he was a pure shooter, and I don't know what the hell has happened.
Yeah, I'm like confused.
Okay, I'll give you that. So Giannis is one of my favorite players of the last 20 to 25 years. Just because of how aggressive his growth was.
Yeah, it was fast.
And that's the thing that has changed everything about his shot. His body grew. His grew. Like every piece of his body grew. He was 19, 18 when he came in the league.
He looked like his brother.
Yeah. At 2021, he grew 4 inches. He's gained.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Over the last 5 years, he's gained 50 pounds.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Go from 180. You're 6'8", 180, and you get to 240, 6'11", and you're a monster. You're an MVP at this point. Like his body has fully changed. His body has fully developed into something totally different.
Yeah.
So learning to do these things with his new body, he had to do something different.
Yeah.
So
for sure. But now it gives me hope for him because I was kind of worried. But now I'm like, oh, we know he can do it. He just he grew so fast. He's like, oh, I can just bully these guys down low. I can take them off the dribble. And he's just so used to being a good shooter that now it's fallen off. Now I think he's going to look at old tape and go, oh, I was shooting like that before. Now I'm shooting. His form was awful.
So you think that his shot regressed because his focus changed?
Yes.
They changed his focus on his game. Okay, I can buy that.
All of a sudden, you can do things that you maybe couldn't. Because if you look at him, it would be like asking Kevin Durant to go down and bully guys down low. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And now it makes sense, but at the same time, you don't like to see guys lose their shot. That's weird.
Right.
But now you know he can shoot. It's there. Yeah. It's there because a lot of.
It's essentially, I've been a fan of the most obscure teams in the world in the league, just because of like my favorite players on those teams at the time. Like I've been a fan of Milwaukee since Carlos Delfino and playing there, and then Rudy Fernandez and Jared Bayless in Portland. That's why
Jared Bayless.
But then we get LaMarcus. They get Dame, video game Dame, who's also one of my top 5 players in the league as well.
Yeah.
But you get these obscure teams, but that's how I found out about Giannis and why they were studying him and seeing the things that they saw out of him.
Yeah.
It's like at the beginning, everybody that saw that pick was like, mid-round draft pick, okay, we'll see what happens with this guy. And here we are 7 years later, 2 MVPs back to back.
Yeah.
And same thing in Portland. You get a 21, 22-year-old guy in Dame Lillard as the 6th pick of the draft, and everybody's like, oh, that's a reach. And here we are. He's a top 2 player out of that draft between him and Anthony Davis.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Brad Beal being a close third, but, you get these guys who I think the development and the scouting of these teams have developed so much further.
Yeah.
That everybody knew Ben Simmons did not shoot.
Right. Right.
That wasn't his thing in high school. Wasn't his thing in college.
Yeah.
He had the basket, and he did what he could to make people around him better. He was center point guard.
Yeah, and I remember having a conversation with JT when they was giving when they was surrounding the Ben Simmons hype, and I was saying like I don't see it. I just didn't see it.
I think him and Michael Porter had similar types of Michael Porter Jr. had similar types of hype around them. Where Michael Porter Jr. his thing was his size and shot.
Yeah.
And Ben's was his size and his playmaking, and two different players. But if you combine those two players, they're the best player in the league.
Yeah, right. Right.
Put those 210 guys, 6'10", 240.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both two totally different types of offensive players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put them on the same team, you get a crazy team. You put them at the same guy, you get Kevin Durant.
Right. 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 So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see. Let's make picks for this Lakers Heat game. That by the time this is coming out, this game will only be a couple hours away. Who are you taking, and in how many games?
Well, definitely taking the Lakers. I like the Heat. I love Tyler Hero. He's the X factor. He's why they're there. As far as I don't think they would have been there if he would have just played kind of pedestrian. But LeBron James is the greatest player on the planet. Their size down low is going to give Bam major problems. I love Bam too, but they're going to have major problems. Like everybody else in a game in a league where the guard centric thing and the small ball has come into effect. They've been beating everybody, or at least the teams that they need to beat that way, because they're so stacked down low. Yeah. So attacking the basket is now not easy.
Right.
And you've got LeBron James, and you and I have been talking about this for a while. Like I've been saying for a couple years, Adam Caruso is one of the most underrated players in basketball. Yeah. He can score the ball. He's strong. He's got great handles. He can shoot. I mean, what don't you like about him other than his hair? His hair is awful. But
he's another overlooked white guy.
Absolutely. Rajon Rondo is playing like playoff Rondo. He really is. And, I mean, they just don't – and then now you don't need Kuzma to really be the third guy. He can be Kuzma.
He's guy number 6, and that's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just – they're built for it. Butler gets canceled out and then some because of LeBron James. And Bam's going to get canceled out. They have no response for Anthony Davis. They have nothing to go at Dwight Howard with. They have nothing to go at even JaVale McGee. It's going to be – now, Tyler Hero going for 40 because I'm not sure who's going to guard him. That's an X factor, but I don't think
that's where enough. You miss Avery Bradley, desperately because of this guard play that they have with Bam.
He's holding it down as far as like detouring guards.
Yeah.
He's been making it harder for these guards. Danny Green's lost a step. He's getting a little weird.
Yeah, Danny Green is not Danny Green.
Job. That's why I like him. And Ron has him doing that job. 3 and
2. I'm old enough to remember when he won a championship with the Raptors.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah, that was a long time. It seems like such a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. He was pretty good.
How many games, JT?
I'm going to say I want to say 5, but I'm going to say the Heat find a way. I'm going to say 6.
Okay, what do you got, DeShaun?
All right, I'm going to take some vernaculars from one of my favorite sports reporters.
Yeah.
Our good brother, Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, Unc.
So you can have Skip. I just want to tell you. You can have
Skip.
Yeah.
Skip.
Skip. Listen, Skip. Let me tell you. So you can bam your way through anything, right? You think you got yourself a hero, okay? And you know what? At the end of the day, the Butler did it, okay? Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. Okay, Skip.
You know what though? That was brilliant, by the way. I'm gonna actually go and make a bolder prediction because 6 is boring. 6 is boring. I'm gonna say the Lakers sweep because I don't think the Heat can hang with them.
Okay, so I'm gonna. So you got Lakers in 4. Unc and / DeShaun has the Lakers in 5. This Heat team, we've been talking about this Heat team, all throughout the playoffs. I got a lot of love and a lot of respect for this Heat team. More so than any team, any of the other teams that we've been talking about in the East. I'm gonna go. I think it's gonna be a longer series than that. I'm gonna go Lakers in 7. I think the
7.
Yeah, because I think this is gonna be the series where the Lakers desperately miss Avery Bradley and his 3-and-D ability and his ability to slow down some of the high power guards that they have, and Tyler Hero and Bam. And Dragic, and Butler, like they can come at you. Like the Rockets had 2-3 really good guards that could really come at you. Other than that, they were just living and dying by the 3, right? But you only really had to worry. You had to focus that guard play as far as defensively on 2 guys, right? In the Denver series, we really had to focus that guard play on 1.5 guys, you know what I'm saying? But really Murray as far as the guard play. In this series, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going maybe 4 deep as far as a dynamic guard play. So I think that it's going to be a little harder for them because the bigs, like you said, we're strong down below, but those bigs aren't really going to be able to hang. If they throw out a lineup of Bam and Butler and Robinson and Hero, you know what I mean? It's like and Dragic,
which might be what they
that
do.
Could get awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could get awkward. Like you know what I mean?
In that case, they're gonna go back to the small ball. They can't even really put Dwight Howard in.
Right.
Because Dwight Howard didn't even play in rounds 1 and 2.
And it was a move. It was a move that had to be made. But but that's what I mean. Because if they do that, then that takes your power, your strength away. Because now you got to pull the bigs off the floor because they're going to be running circles around them dudes.
That's true.
So I think if they are smart as far as their personnel and how they disperse them throughout the series, I think that it's going to be much tougher for the Lakers. But I think that at the end of the day, we got to go and they don't. So I'm going with Lakers in 7. And
the greatest of his generation, for sure.
The greatest of all time,
greatest
all
of
the times,
generation.
of all of the times combined.
I have a great defensive idea that they should do. I don't know if the Lakers will do, but I think they should, and that's put LeBron in Bam.
I think that'll happen because Bam has been their go-to guy. Sometimes, but I think it'll depend because Jimmy, it's fluid, right? Like sometimes it's Jimmy, sometimes it's Bam, sometimes it's Hero.
He can back off of Jimmy more than he can Bam because Bam can get him off the little stab.
Yeah.
He off the stab a little bit.
Yeah, he's a good finisher.
Off the stab.
Yeah.
But
I think
Jimmy doesn't have enough size to get around AD like that.
No, yeah, but he has the quickness too. He has the quickness, and AD's got to be careful because this can be a easy series to get into foul trouble in with those guys.
Another question. Go ahead. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, I was just gonna say that makes it tough because you need. Even if you don't have LeBron on Hero, you need him to be able to switch onto him at least. You know what I mean? Like, Hero's too good. Like, I don't know who they're going to have defend him in man, but that's going to be tough. That's the X factor because if you've got LeBron on somebody other than Hero, who's going to guard Hero?
That's why I'm saying.
Because Hero's tall.
That would be Bradley.
He's a big kid.
Or somebody.
Yeah.
It'd be contagious.
Can I give you guys a sleeper of mine for next season?
Yeah.
Sleeper pick, making the playoffs next year because of this young, under talked about rookie, Darius Garland, who I have just been buying his rookie cards for under $3. Under $3. Just
he was
watch
balling
this
year.
Dude,
I saw he was keeping them alive.
This dude is the closest I've seen to Steph Curry. Like him and Trae Young. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. This dude's handle is ridiculous. Him, Colin Sexton, and then Kevin Love, and them still having Thompson.
Yeah.
They're in the playoffs next year.
Yeah. He's been balling.
He's nice.
I give him 3 more years.
Yeah. I think they need a couple more years, but
to make the playoffs in the East, they got to win like 25% of their games.
Yeah, I mean, but they also he needs help. Like they don't have the personnel. You know what I mean? Like that's
no. Colin Sexton's one of the best scorers in the game. He's gonna, and that's the other reason too. Is Colin Sexton's
liability. Their guard spots are also defensive liabilities, both of them.
Yeah.
In the East, though. In the East,
they're defensive liabilities.
Yeah.
You got like top 8 teams. Okay, Milwaukee,
Orlando. All I care about is Orlando. They're better. They're better than Orlando.
I mean, you got the Pacers. The Nets are going to be obviously back in it.
That puts Orlando out. The Nets do.
No, but the Nets were in this year, right?
They were in this year, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The Nets are going to be. I think the Nets are going to compete for a championship if they stay healthy. I think they're that good. But props to my boy Steve Nash. But they're going to progress forward while Orlando is no good. And you said the Pacers. Oladipo just requested a trade today.
Yeah, we were about to talk about that.
Interesting. That's
good. But you got to think that Washington will be back. John Wall will be healthy and be back on playing.
Rui Hachimura.
So they're whatever or however you pronounce it.
He's a baller. He's a baller.
Washington will be back in the mix. Obviously, Brooklyn, Philly will still be in the mix. Miami is obviously going to be in the mix. You got Boston. You got Toronto's going to be in the mix. Milwaukee's going to be in the mix. The Pacers are going to be in the mix. So that's what I mean. Like it's going to be tough for them. I can see them, maybe getting in at the 7 or 8 spot, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them if people are healthy,
7 or 8. I don't make weak picks, dude. I make bold picks.
Bold picks out on a limb, 7 or 8 spot.
I don't make easy picks like, I'm going to say Lakers in 7.
That's a realistic pick.
I make real picks like Lakers in 4.
And
because they have no business playing the Lakers.
And let me say this too for one of our homies and also loyal listeners, Sput, okay? Because he said the same thing. He's texting me the other day. I told him, I said I picked when the Lakers lost against Denver that game, I say I picked the Lakers in 6 that series, right? And he's like, oh, well, just go, that's an easy pick. I'm like, no, that's an accurate pick. Like I expected them to win at least 2 games. That's a good team who just knocked off the team that was supposed to win the championship. So I make realistic picks, okay? I don't expect, especially knowing this roster, like, we don't have the best roster in the bubble. We just have the best player. You know what I mean? So you never know who's going to show up. Is Danny Green going to turn into Danny Green from the Spurs?
You might have the 2 best players. You might have the 2 best players.
Right. But it's like you never know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Is Danny Green going to show up and actually can we depend on Caldwell Pope to hit wide open threes? I watch 100% whole periods where they were just doing a goddamn thing.
It's a realistic pick because that's probably. Vegas is going to probably guess 6. Excuse me, and stuff. So it's more realistic for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think in 5, just because I think
I wouldn't be shocked.
Miami will let them go without at least 1 fight.
Yeah. No, that's not. Yeah, they're I don't see them getting. It's a gritty team. It's a tough team. I don't see them getting swept. Okay, let's get out of here on this. So if you didn't hear or see about this, Paul Pierce has consistently had an axe to grind against LeBron James, and it is one of the most annoying things ever because he's also one of the most annoying NBA analysts ever. But in another diatribe about how he's so good and LeBron is so not good, He said, and if you're not watching, we have a graphic up that says, players today are scared of LeBron, ... My era's out the league. We weren't afraid of LeBron. That's what Paul Pierce said on the countdown. Draymond Green came in off the top rope and said, enjoy retirement, man. You still feel LeBron. Shut up already. Okay. How do we feel about Paul Pierce constantly taking shots at the throne?
So I feel like that, first of all, Draymond's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. And if he played,
he's been killing the NBA analyst vibe. He been on what was it? The TNT broadcast. He's been on the TNT broadcast.
Y'all know where Draymond's from too.
Yes, he's from the D. Shout out Michigan.
True. And if he were on any other team, I would hate his guts. But for obvious reasons, I love Draymond. The thing with Paul Pierce is, I don't know. He's a very competitive guy. He's one of the most competitive guys that we've seen, which is why he was also an overachiever. He was a talented guy, but he was an overachiever.
It seems like delusion instead of competitive to me. It seems like he's one of the most delusional guys.
The delusion is sometimes what makes greatness and what makes you overachieve. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I don't get me wrong. I kind of feel like it's accurate. There's always going to be some guys that don't fear anybody because they're a little crazy. I don't think Draymond fears anybody, but that doesn't mean he's better than the 15 or 20 of the best players in the league. But I watched Michael Jordan once those bad boys were out, which was probably the only group of guys that wasn't afraid of him. And he put the fear of God into Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. So this happens. I mean, he's by far the greatest player of his generation at the very least. And he makes me afraid when I watch other teams play him. I'm like watching other guys going like, I'd be shaking in my boots right now because no one can do anything against him. So I think it's accurate, but he's going to get flack because he already says so much stupid shit.
He says a lot of stupid shit, but here's the thing. Here's what it's the motivation in it, right? Because I think how he meant this was like LeBron wins now because these guys are afraid of him. If I was still around, I'd be in the way of that. And it was like, bro, you weren't in the way of it when you were around. And you had two Hall of Famers on your team. You still weren't in the way of it.
Well, but they got one and they made it to two though.
They were in
his way for a moment.
And he got past them.
And he got past them. But those Celtics were Jordan's Pistons. Like he couldn't get by him, and then once he did, it was over. It wasn't even a question anymore.
Right, but
so he feels like that, just like Isaiah feels and Lambeer.
But he feels like this is an individual thing. He never talks about like I had Kevin Garnett, one of the greatest players of all times. I had Ray Allen, one of the greatest shooters of all time, and I did this. It's always like, I wasn't scared. I did this when I had LeBron. And it's like, bro, LeBron, look at the numbers. Look up the numbers of LeBron versus Paul Pierce head-to-head. LeBron was cooking his ass all the time, a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He was cooking him all the time. So he has this delusion of like me and LeBron are on the same level, and you're not.
And which isn't,
You're not, bro.
And he does. I guarantee he believes he was better than Kobe. He believes he was one of the greatest of all time. But again, to the point, like he brought it to Kobe, especially in the big moments in the finals. He wasn't afraid of Kobe. Now Kobe was by far the superior basketball player. Yeah. But he wasn't afraid. So I'm saying he's accurate in what he's saying, but I completely agree that the motivation behind it makes us tired because it's like, bro, stop trying. Because I love Paul Pierce. He's an LA guy, California guy, but stop acting like you're greater than some of these other guys and just give him respect. They're afraid of him because he's that much better than everybody else.
But that's the thing too. He's constantly doing these things to try to dilute things that LeBron is doing.
It's like trying to knock.
Like, come on, dude. Like when
less fear and more so respect as far as like what players in this generation feel for what LeBron is. If any player that's in the league now, I don't think anybody's been in the league longer than LeBron or UD or Dwight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
those are the last remaining Mohicans and Andre Iguodala. So all of those guys that came in within a 2 to 3 year span, have no fear or no, like they respect him on the level of work of an equal playing field.
Yeah, and none of those guys, none of the greats in this. And what'd you say?
Like and when Michael came into the league, Michael revered or feared immediately by his peers, by the people he came in the league with, by the Adrian Bentleys, by Isaiah, by even Bird and Magic when he was there. When they were there when he came in the league already. So he had
Jordan put up 63 his rookie season against the Celtics, who some people feel is the greatest team of all time.
Yeah.
So you get it. But that's the difference, right? Like Jordan came in, he didn't fear anybody. That's a rare thing. Kobe came in, he was the only guy, the young guy that didn't fear MJ. Everybody else at that point, like you said, he'd been in the league. Now it's like you've got to not just deal with his talent and his accomplishments. You've got to deal with the fact that he's been there for 15 years and you don't know how you're going to beat him.
Yeah. And
I like young guys like I don't think Dame is a young guy anymore. But Dame is a player of his generation who's fearless and came in.
But that's what I'm saying. All of them are like they're like
also Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell will try to dunk on
anybody. But that's what I'm saying. Like Paul makes it like, well, the top guys, LeBron is winning because the top guys just kowtow to him. No, they don't. James Harden isn't afraid of LeBron. Kevin Durant is not afraid of LeBron. Russell Westbrook is not afraid of LeBron. Giannis Antetokounmpo is not afraid of LeBron. Like all of these guys, they try to beat him and they can't because he's better than them. It don't have nothing to do with them just bowing to his greatness. Like, you know what I'm saying? There is no fear in those guys. They want to go at him. They just can't. Like that's all it is.
I think for the most part, they're afraid of LeBron. Russell Westbrook, I think there's guys with DNA. Like if Jason Tatum had Marcus Smart's DNA, that'd be a different story. I think there's certain guys, but I think Giannis is afraid of them.
The guys that he's gone up against, they dream about being, the Draymond Greens of the world, of that team, that Steph Curry, like they weren't afraid of, they're not afraid of LeBron. When he went up against, even take it back to when he was going against Derrick Rose in that era, like Derrick Rose was not afraid of LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Derrick Rose was literally one of the baddest guards that we didn't get to see it come to fruition because of injuries. But none of these guys was afraid of LeBron.
But he's kind of talking about the newer guys. You know what I mean? Like he's saying, because the older guy, if you're his peer,
well, none of the newer guys are.
Melo's not afraid of him either, even though he probably should be. But he's not. But I think he means these young. But that's what I'm saying is like, I think what you're saying is accurate, but it kind of goes without saying. Like you got guys that basically grew up watching him. They're all going to be
talking about those guys. I mean, yeah, of course. Like, the young guys was when Jordan came on the court and they was, they was Jalen Rose age. He said, well, we was kind of nervous. Like, of course, if they talking about Tyler Hero, I'm talking about the big guys. You know what I mean?
Paul was afraid of Michael. Let's start there. Paul was afraid of Michael.
Right.
Yeah.
When Paul came in the league, Paul was a rookie in the league. What, 97, 98, 97?
I don't remember.
He came in 90.
Was it 96?
96, I think, was Kobe. And then 97, I think. Wait. Kobe was the year after. I think it was 97, and then 98 was the Kobe, Iverson, Steve Nash, Ray Allen class. I think.
Well, that was 96.
What was the? Then it was the year. Then it was the year. I think before. Was Paul Pierce.
All right. Well, no. Paul came in the year after. Paul came.
With Jason Williams, Vince Carter, was that the year after? Because that was Paul Pierce's class.
That was the year after, yeah. Because he came in
after.
T-Mac and Kobe came in.
You're right, because Vince Carter, I was there for that dunk contest, and that was his probably rookie year, right?
Yeah, he won.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was 96, 97. So, when they came into the league, all of them were afraid of Jordan and the greatness of Jordan. And it wasn't a talk of like, I'm afraid of Jordan. It was just, that was the fact. Nobody could handle what Jordan could do to them in his prime in 97, 96, 97, 98, those last three people. And, that's a different space of reference.
But I think, to your point, to JT's point, I think it was the young guys. Like, Isaiah Thomas wasn't afraid of him. Charles Barkley wasn't afraid of him. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Like, I'm talking about the guys that he had to go up against in winning time. The Tim Duncan was not afraid of LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Dirk Nowitzki wasn't afraid of LeBron James. Like, you know what I'm saying? When he had to play Stephen Curry and, you know what I'm saying? Huh?
Those were his OGs. Those were people that were in the league.
But those are the guys that when he says these things, like those are the guys that we think, because I wasn't thinking about the Tyler Heroes of the world, you know what I'm saying, who like had a picture of LeBron on their wall when he was, you know what I'm saying? When he says that he's talking in championship mode, like, well, if I was there, you know, I would be, and it's like, come on, dude, like stop disrespecting the players of this era. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the old heads or a lot of the LeBron haters love to disrespect the players of this era. Well, it's weak now. It ain't no good defenders. And this, you know what I'm saying? They'll do anything to dilute, you know what I mean? Anything that he's done, to the point where they will trash all of the great players of this era. Like, they aren't freaks of nature as far as things that we've seen and we've never seen a Kevin Durant before. We've never seen a Giannis Antetokounmpo before. People are calling James Harden the best offensive player in the NBA and in the history of the NBA. I've heard people with gold jackets, Hall of Famers say
that's ridiculous.
But
that's
people,
ridiculous.
But people say that, you know what I'm saying? So, but you hear these LeBron haters and these older heads talk like, well, he ain't played nobody and da 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 da.
Come on, bro. When it comes to both
that's ridiculous.
Style of play. Play. Everything is so generational. And I will say this. I believe that Jordan was the best of his generation. Wilt was the best of his generation. Kareem was the best of his generation. Kobe was the best of his generation.
Yeah.
LeBron was the best of this generation.
Period.
And you know what?
Here's the thing about LeBron that has kind of set him apart a little bit from a lot of people. But I will never say that LeBron is the GOAT. I don't think there is a GOAT. I'm one of those people. I'm very bipartisan or nonpartisan when it comes to, you know, the GOAT talk. Mm-hmm. And I believe that LeBron, because of his longevity at being how great he is, has a different space because he's garnered more time within that. But he also kind of equals that time with Kareem. But Kareem had a higher like up. He had a higher ceiling, but then his fall was a little deeper. Like in Kareem's 17th year, he was like, what?
Yeah, he was barely getting up and down the court.
Yeah. He was doing what he could. LeBron was doing everything everybody else can.
Yeah.
I completely agree. You know, it's funny, Joe, because I was thinking about this the other day about how people talk about, oh, well, if LeBron played in MJ's era, the crazy thing when I thought about this is LeBron, to me, is actually playing in the wrong era. I think he would have been even better back when Jordan played because the game wasn't so 3-point centric. He's a good 3-point shooter, but he had
to adapt to this era.
Exactly. The era back then was all about who can beat the shit out of each other, which no one could beat LeBron up. Yeah. It was about attacking the basket. He was better.
Mid-range.
He's a better Magic Johnson, and it was all about mid-range. Exactly.
Yep. No one could. LeBron is Magic and Scotty in Karl Malone's body.
Yeah,
Magic
absolutely.
and Scotty and Karl Malone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's accurate.
And Michael Jordan. People talk about Russell Westbrook and his athleticism. I'm like, Michael Jordan was a 6'6" Russell Westbrook, except better and way smarter. Obviously mentally tough. So if he was in this era, and of course, if you come up in this era, you can shoot. Unless you're Ben Simmons, you can shoot. So like, and without the hand check,
unless you're Ben Simmons,
the hand check doesn't affect LeBron as much as it would like a guy that isn't as freakishly big, which no one is. So Michael in this era could have been even crazier. Yeah. So you know, it's an interesting thing to think about because LeBron would have dominated the 80s and 90s.
I could definitely see that. Okay. Last but not least, a couple nuggets. Deion Waiters is gonna win a ring, no matter who wins this championship. So it's something I forgot about. He started the season on the Miami Heat roster. And so I guess if you spend a certain amount of games on a roster, once you leave, No matter where you go, you could be home, you could be a free agent, you can go to another team. If you spend a X amount of time on the roster and that team wins a championship, you get a ring. So Deion is playing with house money because he has a ring.
The champ is here.
Regardless.
Does he start popping champagne right now?
Probably so. I would have. I'd have went home by myself like, hey, we got this in the bag. Let's go party tonight.
I would have got off. I wouldn't even play.
Hey, I'm done. My work is done. He barely plays anyway.
He doesn't play anyway, so it works out for him.
He might as well. He could go home to the wife and have a party. And lastly, Victor Oladipo. JT mentioned this a little while ago. Victor Oladipo allegedly requesting a trade in the offseason, is looking to move on. I don't know if it's a trade or if it's a free agent, but he want to leave. He want to get out of Indiana, which who can blame him? Who wants to be in Indiana? DeShaun, Reggie Miller. DeShaun Allen, thank you so much, bro, for coming on the show today. We could have went a whole nother hour, but that's how it is talking to good peoples on here. Tell the people where they can follow and support and buy into anything that you got going on.
All right. So the easiest way to kind of get around who I am and the things that I do, probably social media, which everything is all the same. It's DeShaun Allen, DeShaun Allen, no underscores, no spaces, no dots, no nothing. It's all the same. Twitter, Instagram. Shoot, I don't know if my MySpace is still active, but it's
MySpace, OnlyFans, all of that. Give them
OnlyFans. I only show feet on OnlyFans. like big feet. Go ahead, pay me some money.
That's right. Go ahead, drop them coins in there. It's straight up.
Yeah, straight. Man. Either that or in your wife's DMs. No, I'm just playing. I'm around and I'm a talker. So if anybody needs to talk about anything, I'm always down. I got good therapists around me. I also went to school for therapy, so that's why I'm very adamant on everybody getting some type of, somebody to talk to.
You're stable as fuck, man. You're stable as fuck.
I've been in it. We've been in couples therapy, so I already I'm on the train. It's at Joe Connor 33 on everything. Make sure that you like and subscribe on the YouTube and turn on your notifications so you know when we drop a video. And also be sure to hit the follow button on wherever you get your podcast. So if that's Spotify or iHeartRadio or Google Podcasts or Apple Play or whatever, make sure you give us a follow on there so you know when these streams drop. We've been consistently coming every Wednesday, so pay attention to that.
We're picking up steam, Joe.
I can feel it. Endorsements coming soon.
Oh, yeah. Man. It's coming soon. Yeah.
We're picking up steam, man. The listenership's going up. The stats are going up.
We appreciate it.
We've been consistent. Someday, maybe in 20 years, someone's going to pay us to do this.
We're going to get that 10 million Joe Rogan deal. We going for it.
Dude, 100 million. 100 million.
Was it 100? Did I shortchange it by $90 million? Goddamn. 100 million. We won it.
At JT Harker Sports at JT Harker for everything. The new one is JT Harker Sports. Sports cards, at some point, comics, because I'm a comic nerd as well, but sports cards, that's picking up steam too really quickly because I didn't even realize when I got into it how big the culture is, man. If you're into sports cards, go check out how much it's changed since 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
But so check that out as well. And new music coming. Drunk People still out. If I Ain't Got You is still doing well on Spotify and Apple Music, and there's more coming. I'm going to Nashville in 1 or 2 weeks to record the next batch of songs and keep it moving. At JT Harker for all the music stuff.
All right, this has been another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast. Until next time, be safe and be great. Peace.